We can't see it. What does it mean? What does it mean to be disabled with an orthopedic or mental health injury in the workplace and people tell you we can't see it? As I continue my Employed and Empowered video series for Disability Employment Awareness Month, I'm at a very special speech because I deal with this in the workplace more than anything else that I talk about in my series. And it's having an injury that people can't see. What does that mean for an individual who works for a company and they have a disability that cannot be seen? Let me tell you. It means that you have to go above and beyond to explain that you're disabled. You have a disability and it impacts your ability to work. You have to have these uncomfortable conversations with managers and HR departments and accommodation departments to ask for accommodations to perform your daily job. So let's talk about mine. June 17th, 2007. Shot in both legs by a sniper. My left leg was destroyed, shattered my femur. It cut my femoral artery in half and caused severe nerve damage that caused me to lose the use of the toes on my left foot. When I sit for extended periods of time, my left leg falls asleep and it becomes very painful. For this injury, I take gabapentin, also known as Neurontin, which is a medication to deal with nerve injuries. So what that means for me in the workplace is when I'm sitting for a long time, my leg falls asleep and I have to walk around in order to bring my leg back to life, to wake it up. What that also means is that I spend a couple of minutes away from my duties to wake my leg up so I can heal, well not heal, but deal with my disability in the workplace, which means that I have to explain why I have this unaccounted time every single day. And on many occasions when I go to my manager and I say, well, I had this injury from Iraq and it hurts me to sit down for a long time. We can give you a variable, one of those desks that go up and down and things of that nature, so you can stand for a while. But with my injury, it also hurts for me to stand. Very complicated injury, very complicated disability. This happened to me in 2007, 13 years ago, and it's still affecting me today. And when I explain this to my managers, I get a look like, oh, okay. A look that is saying, without actually saying, you just don't want to do your job. Now that's my orthopedic injury. How about mental health? That's a disability as well. Dealing with PTSD, depression, being 33 years old and having this injury that affects every day of my life. I wake up in the morning and I know if it's going to be a good day or a bad day. I have a lot of bad days ahead because the weather's getting cold. That's the reason I had to move from my hometown of Rochester, New York, right here to Atlanta, Georgia. But it still gets cold in Atlanta. So late fall and throughout the winter, I'm miserable. And if I'm in a role for an employer that I have direct contact with customers, sometimes tempers get short. Sometimes I feed off of the energy that I'm getting from the customer, and it won't be a good interaction for me, and that's something that I'm going to get evaluated on. It's something that may keep me from positions in the future. When I was in management roles throughout my career, I had to explain to my employees that sometimes on my face, I'll seem that like I'm not approachable. It's because I'm in pain. But you can always come to me. There's always an open door policy. Just like I have these doors behind me, You can come on in because my door is going to be open all the time. But when I was in my management positions, it put me in a very difficult space because when I was new to the team, they went to my manager and said, well, David doesn't seem too approachable. And when I was explaining to my manager about my mental health and my orthopedic injuries, once again, it was, I understand what you got going on, but you need to fix your face when you in here because your employees think that you aren't approachable. So it affects my work. It affects my evaluations that I get from my managers, my superiors. It impacts the feedback that I get from my peers, my fellow managers. So what I do is tell my employees when I was in a position of management, leadership in my previous positions, what I deal with. You have to be very open with your disabilities. And I let my employees know, guys and gals, this is what I dealt with in Iraq. I'm going to have days that are extremely painful for me, but I'm still approachable. You can walk in to my cubicle and talk to me about anything at any time. And I've had some employees who say, well, we don't see it. It's hard for us to believe that. And for some employees, I will show them pictures, and they are graphic. I'm going to post some in this video as well. Say, well, here's what I went through. Here's what impacted me 13 years ago, but I'm dealing with that pain and those mental health injuries every single day. Because when it's cold outside, my left leg aches, and I come into work and I'm in pain, and I'm thinking about the injury, and then I think about, well, why did this happen to me? Why did I join the Army? Why did I have to get shot? And I have a bad mental health day. My depression, my anxiety, my anger. It comes from the back, like out of one of my back pockets, and it's right here in everybody's face. So what I do, thankfully, I let my employers know, hey, I'm going to have some bad mental health and orthopedic days, and I take advantage of FMLA, and I take advantage of short-term disability, so that when I know when the weather changes, I'm going to need some time off from work so my body can adjust to the pain that I'm going to feel in my left leg. And so mentally, I can prepare myself and tell myself, okay, David, the weather's getting cold. You're going to be a little bit grumpy. You may not do well with an upset customer or a very demanding manager or an employee of yours that just needs help. So go to your accommodations department and let them know exactly what's going on. Let your manager know. And having those conversations with managers can be tough because they just don't understand a disability that they cannot see. So let's get rid of this stereotype that you have to look a certain way, talk a certain way, walk a certain way in order to have a disability. I put a post on LinkedIn this week that describes how I got a ticket while I was in the Army for using a handicap sticker because someone said I look too young to be disabled. Disabilities have no look. Let's get rid of the stigma, and let's continue to work together for everyone with a disability.